This is a placeholder song until we replace the old song. This is a placeholder song for Is This Anything?
All right.
Hey.
So I sent you guys over that messenger. Friend / fan of ours. Very, very happy with the show.
That's great.
That's
nice.
awesome. And actually, yesterday, my dad is they think he has like cardiovascular ischemic disease, which means that like he's just not getting enough blood to his brain. So he's 79, but he has like some of the cognitive impairment of somebody who's like maybe 10 years older. He's had a double bypass and stuff like this. I was hanging out with him, and like he'll come see my stand-up, which is very palatable, I think, for a general audience, and be like, a lot of it went over my head, but it was great. And I just hung out with him for like, I mean, I took him to like grocery shopping and stuff like that and did errands with him, but for like 6 hours, and he was like totally out of it, but he was like, I've been listening to the podcast and I really enjoy it. And I was like, you've been listening to it? And he was like, yeah, actually I've been watching it on YouTube. And I was like, what?
Whoa.
And he's like, yeah, you guys have such a good rapport. And yeah, I was just like blown away because I gave him plenty of opportunities to watch it, and I was like, it's just not going to take.
Right.
And he's really into it. And he said, and it's nice because then I could see Leedy, and she's good looking.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. Hear that, ladies?
I love your dad.
Yeah, it was more perverted old man vibes. It wasn't. He didn't say anything, but that was implied. He was just like, and Leedy's nice to look at. So.
Have we talked on the podcast about how it was the first time I met your dad? I don't know if it's much of a grand story, but there's just a quote from him that made me really giggle. Was that at the very end, he was like asking us about what else we were up to that day. Then he goes, so did we leave any time for necking? And I was like...
Oh, wonderful, Dad.
Necking.
That is him on
great term.
the tamest side he could be. What?
I didn't say screwing.
I didn't say anal. What are you yelling at me for? Does your dad have a sailor's tongue normally, regularly?
He has just like become a perverted old man and really embraced it. Like, like making, when he was in rehab and stuff, like making all the staff laugh, and also equally uncomfortable with like try it, be like, oh, like when I went, he was getting some PT, and the lady helping him went to the physical therapist went to go tie his shoes for him, and he was like, oh, woman on her knees, just where I like her. And I was like, Dad, you cannot say stuff like that. Oh no, he said, you know what he said? He said is, the line I used to use was, woman on my knees, just where I like her. And I was like, what was the line for? For you to get like a drink thrown in your face? Like you can't say that stuff. But we're picking our battles.
Well, you heard it here, folks. If you're cognitively impaired, this is the show for you. Nothing's going to go over your head.
There's like a mushy rice paste that's good for people with like digestive issues. And I like to think of this show as that for people in mental decline, like nothing too challenging, goes down real easy, as they say.
The stand-up comedy shows. Choke, it's so fast.
Everything's going over my head.
You guys talking at third grade level. That's what I like.
Rob, great jacket.
Thank you.
So happy that fit you and that you like it.
I really do. I've been wearing it a bunch, and I've gotten lots of compliments on it. Like,
it seems like I got that as a peacocking jacket, and I was like, this is going to be my showy jacket. And then when it didn't fit, I was like, shit.
I was at a Chinese place in Harlem, which then I think a few nights before, just to show you how I'm not going to stop going to this Chinese place. A few nights before, a shooting happened just next door.
Ooh, what were they shooting?
Humans.
Oh, is that?
I'm not watching that. Is that on NBC? That's streaming somewhere?
I was going to say, is that a working title? Humans.
Two human beings got shot.
That's
two
like,
episodes.
Two broke girls.
God damn it.
They bled out, guys.
Ooh, that must be an industry term for when the gate's not closed.
They ran out of funding. I hope they can get renewed
that's
for a
it.
second season.
They were rushed to the hospital. It was horrible.
Oh wait,
Wait, what are we
Like with
talking
the
about?
so you're still going to this place despite there being a murder potential?
Well, you know what? It wasn't a murder. There were two boys survived, and I say boys because they were very young, and I did not know that they were that young. They
How
were
young?
13 and 16.
Wow.
And I swear, from a not so far distance, I thought that they were both full-grown adults.
And that's why you shot them.
That's why I shot them. I ordered my Chinese
Felt really
food.
bad.
I heard 3 gunshots quickly, pop, pop, pop.
Wait, you were there?
I was there.
Oh my god.
I'm there.
Oh my god!
This is
Did
my
you see?
check-in. So
Wow.
I'm ordering Chinese food. I'm about to like just finish up my give me a drink, and I just hear, and you know, if you hear gunshots, you don't like know that you're just like, I think that sounded like gunshots. You know, I'm like, it's not how it sounds in movies, but it was like a quick successive pop, 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 just like that, and I was like, I turned around, I was like, I think that was, and as soon as I'm like processing, I'm like, I'm
Either
pretty
a
sure-
shooting or somebody's making a very small amount of popcorn.
Done.
Sorry.
And so it sounded close too, because it didn't sound. There was no echo. It just was like I was like, man, that felt really close. And as I'm like processing how close it sounded like the gunshots were, I see this kid run like a bat out of hell, dart across the window and door frame of this Chinese place, and I was like, okay, I definitely think that kid just shot somebody. And so
Or he burned the popcorn. Felt real bad
Mom's
about
gonna
it.
kill
Super
me.
embarrassing. Everybody in the building smells it. It's just
Or maybe he uses maybe the shooting happens at the same time every night, and when he heard it, he was like, "Oh no, I'm late for dinner," and he just started.
So just a blur, and then I'm a little cautious, but I do poke my head out. I look right. He's already turned the corner. I look left, and there's a fried chicken place next door, and I see that there is a guy who got shot in the face, and he's on the floor, and he's bleeding out in the tiles in the fried chicken place. His friend,
and he's like, nice jacket.
nice jacket. That looks great. So I look
That
at him.
jacket is to die for.
They both made it, folks.
Oh, good. I like to imagine that you did the follow up, not just because you were there, but you were like, if they die, I'm not going to go back to that Chinese place. But if they live, I think I'll still go back.
No harm, no foul.
So it was one of those scenarios where, like, you know, things were happening pretty quickly in my brain, and I was like, should I go in there? Because there was a couple of people surrounding him. One of these kids was like freaking out because I was like his friend. He's like, oh my god, he's jumping up and down, he's crying, he's screaming, and I'm like, nobody's like doing the right thing in helping in this scenario. And I was like, but the guy looked like he got shot in the face. Like it looked like this was a dead body that people are sort of like crying over. And I'm just like, you know, there's a strong part of me that's like, well, you know, you're not going to be, I don't know how helpful you're going to be, but you should go in there and do something if no one's doing the right thing. But then it was also just like a wall of people that I didn't know. And I wasn't sure if the danger had subsided yet, because I'm talking this is within 30 seconds of the gunshots. So I don't know if everybody even in the vicinity are friendlies or not, you know. So I'm just like, so I turn back around, I look back to where the kid ran to, and then as I walked down, I went back into the Chinese place for a moment, and I came back. Then someone had identified themselves as a physician and had gone into the fried chicken place. And I said, okay, well, that's good news. And then I walked to the corner, and there was another kid who was collapsed at the corner. And I was like, well, what the fuck was this? So I was like, I'm pretty sure I heard those 3 shots right in a row. And I said, oh, maybe they both got shot. This guy got shot in the head. This other guy got shot in the gut. And then he wound up, I guess, making his way to the corner before he eventually collapsed, and he was being tended to as well. And it was one of those scenarios, and I still, for days and days after, I was kind of like just reprocessing the order of actions that I took, where it was like I wanted to be of most help, but I was like, did I do everything that could have been done? The ambulance came very quickly. Everyone turned out fine, but I was just like almost giving myself a grade, critiquing myself, being like, did you do all that could have been done in this scenario? I'll give myself points off on not like rushing in at first glance of the fried chicken place, because someone even said, "Oh, he's dead." That was someone was like quickly assessed, like, that kid, he's gone. And I was like, is that true? I mean, maybe that is true, instead of kind of investigating myself. But anyway, there was a lot of small factors.
That's a crazy statement to make, unless the person's like full on decapitated. I mean, you can survive so many. You can survive a gunshot to the temple. You can survive a surprising amount, depending on the caliber of bullet. So unless somebody's like incinerated, it's crazy to not be like, hey, that guy needs help.
Right. Yeah.
And once you survive a shot to the temple, you'll really like, is this anything right now?
Will be part of your rehab.
So drink down that applesauce and turn on an episode. ITA. Anyway, they both
We are
made
dominating with people in comas.
They can't turn away. Well, ignore this blatant disregard for human life, everybody.
They lived.
And join our Patreon.
Join our Patreon. Patreon.com/ITA-pod. The High Writing Challenge. So I went back a few days after. I did not mean to tell that story in its entirety, but then I went back a few days later to get more Chinese food. And there was a guy in there with really nice shoes. He had really cool sneakers. And I was going to compliment them, but I was like, he's just a dude. I'm not going to just be like, hey, out of nowhere. But then he went out of nowhere and complimented my jacket. And I said, I was going to say the same thing about your sneakers. So we had a moment there.
Oh, that's lovely.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
In my mind, they were the same pattern. His shoes and your jacket.
Well, thematically to tie in, the story with that jacket is that I bought it on Wish after looking at several different places where I could purchase it. And I was like, okay, well, it does have a return policy, but I didn't realize that you would have to send it back to China, where it will come from, if it is the wrong size. And I really looked up, the sizes was just wrong. I looked up the measurements. I measured myself. I measured another jacket that I had. And but I would have had to pay the price of the jacket to send it back. So I was like, I'm just going to wait till a big friend comes.
You should never buy things off of Wish. This is
Agreed.
the one thing that I know.
Why? What is
Agreed.
Wish?
But it's also kind of fun because it's like when
What
you
am
go
I
to the
gonna
Dollar
get?
Tree. Exactly. It's like gambling. You're like, yeah, it only costs $5 for a thing that should cost $100. And it might be garbage. But if it isn't, that's so much more fun than just buying a thing for $100 and knowing it'll work.
Well, I disagree with that. I kind of want the things that I buy to be the things that I buy. Rob, I could use a little more volume on you, I think.
Not on that jacket, though.
How about now?
It's loud.
Yeah. I want you to turn that jacket up.
Do I sound louder now?
You do sound louder now. The last couple of episodes, you've been real low and I've been real hot. And so I'm just like, I can't be the loudest person on the show. I already get roasted enough for being Mr. Interrupty, Mr. Guy who never shuts up. I gotta be the loudest too. What a bully. And I can even I'll be listening to an episode and I'll have my hand on my little volume thing on my headphones. And we record these episodes in advance, so it's not like we just recorded them and then we listen to them again. But I can kind of sense when I'm gonna say something because I'll hear like a little break in the story and I'm like, this feels like Jarret's about. I'm gonna turn my volume down real quick before I
funny.
yell in my own ear, whatever business this is gonna be.
That's really
Are
funny.
you not using the compressor in the?
Yeah, I'm
master?
doing all of the things. I'm doing all
wow.
the things. Yeah.
Maybe do a second sweep on the compressor. It may take you down a bit.
All right.
It's funny because Steve has been posting the clips from our stint together on the road, Jarret and I. And so these are the Q&A. It's Steve Hofstadter's shows, Q&A afterwards. We ask the audience, and the audience can ask any questions they want, and we answer them Steve answers a lot of them. Sometimes Jarret will answer some, I'll answer some. And we all kind of just improv and chime in and stuff. And it's fun to rewatch them because because it's on stage, like here, when I have an idea and I want to interject, I can sort of like mentally process it and then I'll jump in whenever I jump in. But because it's stage, you have to be a little bit bigger. So if you want to interject, you have to kind of like cue the other people on stage that you're about to say something, you know, like, hey, Steve, I'm about to cut you off, but it'll be worth it, I think, you know. And so I could see more clearly exactly when I have an idea, exactly the moment when I'm trying to interject the idea, when it kind of like gets stamped down and like, oh shit, I can't get it in there. And it's just funny to watch myself be like, I know you're trying so hard to get this thing in. That's really funny.
Yeah, it is. It's a really fun thing to do. I love the Q&A.
Yeah, Q&A's are dope.
It's just like, okay, well, I'm going to have I can do my material and then still I'm going to have some kind of improv aspect of it. It's great for generating clips. And also it's really nice when you were the opener and you are selling merch afterwards that people get a reminder that you're funny at the end of the show after seeing, you know, the headliner for 45 minutes to an hour. Yeah, there's just like a fun camaraderie to it and stuff like that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Facts. Facts. I'm a big fan. We were there for the first one of the joining Steve on stage for the Q&As.
Yeah, it was actually my suggestion.
So it was because we did such a good job that this is still a thing.
This story's been told before, and I interject with this story where I was the first person to go with Steve on stage.
Right.
Whether it was implemented officially, we were very, very early for a show. We were on time for the show, but there was tickets for like, oh, the show starts at 7, the show starts at 8. So half the crowd was already there. So we show up ready to load in, and half the crowd's like, Steve. And we're like, what the fuck? So we set up as quickly as we could. We're like, what do we do? The rest of the crowd's not gonna be here for another 45 minutes. And it was like, let's just go out there. We'll do a long Q&A. You and I, both of us, and we'll all go up there. And then we just did that, and it was fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then he didn't do it for years. So
something happened there. But then another thing happened, and then it really took off.
It's fine if we repeat stories on this show because our demographic forgets everything we say the second that we say it.
Now here's some old episodes of MASH, everybody.
Don't blame me. I voted for McGovern. We're still on the road.
Woo! Yeah.
We're in a hotel.
Yeah.
All right.
Jacksonville, Florida.
Ooh, nice.
Home of alligators.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lake right in back of our hotel. And yesterday we had the day off, so I was just sort of like bombing around the hotel, checking out the vibes, seeing what was going on. I go into the back. I see that they have cornhole. And I text everybody, guys, I got cornhole. No one responds. No one gives a shit. But I look over at this lake and there's a sign that says, careful, alligators. And I was like, oh, shit, are there alligators? And so I started like scanning the coastline, both at the same time acknowledging that alligators are very good at concealing themselves in water. Like that's their whole fucking thing. But I'm like, I'm going to find them, you know.
Well, Jarret, if you had texted alligators to the group chat, I would have come, but you texted cornhole. So
yeah, cornhole, which is fun. Leedy's like, can I die? No, not interested.
Yeah, I'm already trying to Google and find that Chinese restaurant to go there.
The amount of time in my life that passed before I knew that cornhole was a game, as well as a term for a butthole.
A butthole. Yeah.
That you might as well be saying, guys, I found butthole to me. Like that is so ingrained in my brain. When somebody says cornhole, we were playing cornhole. I'm like, what?
Yeah, we're playing that game where you try to stick your finger in your friend's butt. Cornhole, you know. That's
why nobody responded.
There's also alligators.
I came back in the room and I said, I told Rivers, I was like, there's cornhole in the back. And Rivers like, there's cornhole in my bag too.
Is that true? That sounds like something.
That is true. That is true. Yeah.
Was it a lake or a swamp?
It's like a lake. It's like a man-made lake. It looks very manicured, you know. So I'm scanning the thing for gators, And I'm like, I'm going to find one. But as I don't find one, number one. Number two, I do see a lot of birds that are just like landing on the water and hanging out and stuff. And I'm like, I don't think there's gators in here because there are alive birds.
No, I would say that's not a testament, because I've seen so many videos of gators where it's just like there's a hippo and there's a gator and everybody's just chilling, and then there's just an attack. And then the birds all run away, but they are just like chilling next to the alligator until it attacks.
Well, Brett, I wish you'd have told me the story yesterday.
I'm fine.
I didn't see any alligators, so I stuck my hand in the water and I started splashing, just to kind of see. I heard they like that.
Just kind of left it there like this.
It's the equivalent of like going pss, 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 pss at a cat.
Here, gator. Yeah, I don't know if there's actually gators in there, if they're just trying to dissuade rowdy teens from bathing in the gross swamp water in the back of our hotel.
Could be either one.
True. Yeah.
But I did not see any gators. You guys ready to do some bits?
Yeah.
You ready to do some bits of business?
Bits.
Bits of business.
Yeah.
No, bits of bits. I want bits. I want jokes.
Bits of bits. Okay, our order today is Jarret, Rob, Brett.
All right.
Jarret, Rob, Brett. Jarret, Rob, Brett. Okay, this one is a little like, I think it's potentially like a little offensive. All right.
Wow.
So bear with me, because I'm trying to see if this joke works in a way that's not offensive.
Okay.
All right. Check this out. Check this out, guys, everybody. All right. I find the whole debate about what things you are and aren't allowed to say pretty tiresome. Like, if somebody says like something is offensive, then I'm just like, okay, well, I just won't say it. I don't need to get into a screaming match about, oh, but I'm allowed to say whatever I want, blah, blah, blah. I think a good compromise as we move towards being able to say all the words is if you just change the meaning. Like, I would never say the word slut. I don't like that word. I definitely would never use it as a gendered insult that demeans women's sexuality. But maybe you could use the word slut for something else. Like, you don't call a woman who's had a lot of sex a slut, but maybe if you're eating a really good sandwich, you call the sandwich a slut for tasting so good. Like, I'll say to my friends, do you want a bite of this delicious little slut? It's a BLT. This BLT tastes so good because it's a fucking slut about getting eaten. It loves it. That's why it has such crispy bacon, fucking slut. Or if I get a really good parking spot, I'll be like, yeah, slut, you like that? You like how I put my car in you?
This joke is very hot.
Hot, like ooh, like ooh.
No. Like, I'm turned on. Like, what? This is hot. Keep talking dirty like this.
That's
great.
all I got, everybody.
I like the first example more because it's not. I think is the premise that you want to take the power, the negative energy out of the word by making it into a positive word.
Not that you want to take it into a positive word, but if we just don't use the offensive words in their offensive way, maybe we can take the power away from them, as you say. It's an argument that's been made before, like, take the power away from these words, but that's essentially the vibe I'm going for.
I agree with Brett that there's two different things going on with those two examples. The first one is just the sandwich is so good at getting eaten because it's so desirable. It's just kind of like a compliment, it seems like way to go, sandwich. Like, you're the best sandwich ever. And then the second one, though funny, is just a very different thing. That's like straight up dirty talk, where you are talking dirty to the parking spot for being parked by you or being fucked by you. And it's just like, yeah, you slut, you like kept my car parked inside you. So that is so reminiscent of how that word already gets used in a intimate sense by some people that I don't think it registers the same for me as the first one does.
And I think the second one hits more offensive between the two. I also think that just in terms of if I'm believing that you're trying to take the words, the power away from these words, then that wouldn't be effective. That would only reinforce it. But if you are to change the meaning, like you did in the first example, to like literally change the meaning of the word so that it Now it's like, well, I don't know
Right.
if you mean slutty good or slutty bad. Like
Yeah.
that actually would take the power out of the word. So if you were to be like, well, this sandwich is so slut, it is like, oh my God, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you are actually changing the word and taking away its negative energy.
Yeah, if your fiance came home and she like got the job that she was trying to get, you'd be like, "You slut! How did you nailed it? You went in,
Well,
you
I
got that
think-
job like a dirty little slut."
That is super funny. I love that. But I think that it's easier to just use the word slut when you mean good, or use the word slut when you mean, delicious or something like that. But what I'm trying to do is incorporate not the negative connotations of the word slut, but a little bit of the mechanism of the word slut. Does that make
Right.
sense?
Yes.
And so, when I'm talking about the sandwich and it tastes so good because it's a slut about getting eaten. It loves it. That's why it has such crispy bacon, the fucking slut.
Yeah.
Like that feels to me like we're still using the mechanism of the word slut, even though we're changing the definition of it. You know what I mean? And so
Yes.
I guess in my brain, I'm also like, I don't understand why the sandwich one is less offensive than the parking spot one, because I feel like I'm doing the same thing for both.
Well, slutty is a loaded word. So, like, you could be slutty in the way that you like. For me, I think the sexiest version of slutty is that it just means that a woman loves sex. Like she is,
Right.
she's into sex.
Yeah.
And so, but then there's also like, I think what was the parking one again? I mean, maybe it's implying that she's loose.
Well,
in
what
some
is
way.
Rob Ryan doing here?
All right, so we're gonna
Whoa.
do a little diagram. So, what are the different meanings of slut?
I honestly thought Leedy took over and was about to draw what we're talking about in real time, and I was like, I don't know if I'm ready for this.
Sex.
Oh my God. I am really digging watching the typing happen and you misspelling the word sex. Sex. Love sex. Has lots of sex.
Good at sex.
Is good at sex.
Maybe a negative one would be that you're not faithful.
Ah, yeah, multiple partners. So that's a negative one, right? Not faithful.
Well, multiple partners could be
But this is what I mean. Like
depending
like,
on whether
let's-
it's ethical or not.
Exactly. So let's think of all of the things that surround the word slut and let's choose which ones we want to focus on. Because what I like about the sandwich one and what I like about the job one, because I could also say, man, you can get any job you want. You're such a slut. you're such a professional whore.
Right.
You're just, like it's such like a fun thing because you're like, yeah, if you're a slut, part of being a slut is being able to have sex with many people and being desired by many people. So
You
if
could very
yeah.
well, take one of the meanings of the word, which is just that you do something a lot and just be like, oh, you went on 15 job interviews, you slut.
Ah, yeah, that's true too. Do something a lot. And then when we are changing the things, instead of saying loves sex, you're like loves getting eaten.
Loves getting parked in by me.
Yeah, that's true.
This is like I feel like there's a sometimes in grammar there was like a certain level of complexity where I would get lost. And this is one of the reasons why I have trouble learning foreign languages, is because the specificity of like verb tenses and things, where it's like, this is the word that you use for a group activity that happened in the past, but you're talking about it now. This is the verb tense that you use for a group activity that happened in the past, and you're gonna be talking about it in the future. And I feel like that's where I'm getting lost here, where I'm like, yeah, I just don't understand why the parking spot one is worse than the sandwich one.
What is the parking slot?
And I just want to call
Parking
Kirsten
slut.
a slut.
Parking
and I don't
slut.
understand.
I found a great parking slut.
What is the parking spot one?
Yeah, slut. You like that? You like how I put my car in you?
It sounds demeaning because there's nothing positive about what the parking spot's doing. But with the sandwich one, you were complimenting how it had bacon and how
Crispy
it had all
bacon.
these crispy, all these excellent. It was so desired, but I didn't get the desirable spot maybe if it was like, oh my God, you're right out in front of the building. You could, man, look at that. 8 p.m. to 9 a.m. No fee. Like you're what up.
In my brain, it's like you're driving down the street, you're looking for a parking spot. You've literally just started because there's like the restaurant that you're going to is right on the right or something. And you're like, okay, there's a restaurant. We got to start looking for a parking spot. And then as you say that, a car gets out of a parking spot, like directly in front of you, and it's yours. Like that spot is yours. I'm just imagining being in that situation, just being like, oh, you slut. Oh, look at you opening up for daddy just as I pulled up. Oh, you're so dirty. Little parking spot. Ugh. It's like, so is that offensive the way that the first version was offensive, or is that more of the good side of it? Like I'm having such a hard time delineating here.
I don't find either of them offensive personally,
but you think that maybe like that one is a little bit more on the cusp.
If we're trying to like, if we're just trying to get to the meaning of things, you know, different things are offensive to different people. I think slut has already had a nice transformation over the years of it being empowering, just for women owning their sexuality, you know, as much as they can and should and do. So like, yeah, I don't know. I think some of that heavy lifting has already been done for you. Culturally.
Oh, thank goodness. Thanks, culture.
Oh, thank God.
Let's do the N word now.
Can you can you dirty talk? I mean, it seems to me like the joke that you want is just you dirty talking things that aren't people. Like that's just a justification to get there.
That's an element of it, obviously, of course.
Can you dirty talk it and then also reinforce the sex positive, you know, aspects to, sexual liberation? Can you say, you know, you're such a dirty slut, look at you wide open for me, which is great. And you should own that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and why wouldn't you be open?
Get it. Get that car
Absolutely.
parking spot.
You are a bad bitch of a parking spot, you know?
After
That
I
is
leave,
so funny.
have a truck parked there. I don't give a shit.
I love incorporating that.
You earned
That's
it.
So funny.
And then you diffuse any, you know, problem that you might have. And it's just a fun angle to do.
Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. All right. That's all I got today, boys. Thank you for the help
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
on that.
Great joke.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rob, by the way, I thoroughly enjoyed that idea web.
Oh, good.
Oh yeah, that was
I
fun.
think we should do that. If we're ever stuck on a joke, I think we should do that more often.
Hell
Oh,
yeah.
great. It helps our viewers.
All right, get your glasses because it's time for the whiteboard. Wheel yourself closer to the screen so you can read along.
Who had B17? I
All
think
right,
I'm next,
up
correct?
we got Rob Ryan.
Next up, we got Rob Ryan.
Put my phone right here. I go to Wal-Mart sometimes, and they have a clothing section in Walmart. And then not just the clothes, but they also have ads for the clothes that they're selling. And I look at the clothes ads at Walmart, and I look at the people in the ad, and I think, wow, those are the most attractive people who will ever wear these clothes. And I'm aware that models are usually attractive, but the gap between model and buyer is greater than even the one at the Gap. And that's it. That's what I got.
Excellent. I like it a lot.
It's the gap is so large, it's equivalent to the economic disparity that the monopoly of Walmart enforces.
I like that a lot.
So far, my only criticism is that I think you hit the Gap part of it a little too hard because as soon as you said the Gap,
couldn't
I
help
was
but
like,
think about the
I
Gap.
know.
Yeah, I was already, yeah.
I see.
I was like, know where this is going.
I had the first idea more like in my head and thought through. I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. I like that the other day. And then yesterday I was like, oh, I should shape this up a little bit if I'm going to bring it to the boys. And as I was saying it, the Gap like tag thing came to mind. I was like, I just said because I was trying to think of like qualifying it because I said, well, models are generally attractive. So that's that's kind of a weird thing to point out. Like, yeah, usually that's going to be the case. But I was like, but it's more the disparity. And I said, it's more the Gap. I said, oh, the Gap. The Gap's also a clothing store. And I was like, I could do that too. Blah, 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 blah.
I was gonna say, do you think it would be funny to do that thing where you pretend like you get the idea halfway through your joke? You're like, it just feels like the gap between the model and the person who's wearing it is large, whereas a store like the Gap, the difference is small. Maybe that's why they called it the Gap, because it's just like it's a small gap. They should have called the clothing at Walmart like the Gulf.
You'll never be these guys. That's just a fact.
But at the Gap, it's like you could step over this. Like you're so close. It's literally the difference between where you stand to get on the subway and the subway. Like just that little, just mind the gap. Just mind it. Just like look out.
That's very funny. I like that. Fun fact about this joke is I thought of the idea looking at a Gap store, actually, because I was walking by the Gap and I was looking at the models who were modeling the Gap clothes, and they were like what seems like the epitome of like 19-year-old, angular face look, and they're kind of doing all that stuff, but they were wearing this like very bland fall fashion that the Gap offers up. And it did make me chuckle a little bit, because like living in New York, I'm like, if I ever saw someone who looked like that, they would not be wearing this like pretty bland head to toe like covering. And that's kind of funny, and that's where your thought originated. But I was like, oh well, if I think about the ads at Walmart, like that I could go even further with that idea.
In my mind, you're looking. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Brett.
I was just saying, you were like, they'd be wearing this jacket.
Shut up! Oh, no! That's exactly the thing I was gonna say.
Should have let me go ahead, motherfucker.
Mine was a little more elegant. I'm imagining you outside the store wearing the jacket, and your reflection wearing the jacket lines up with the model's head. So you're like, now you see, this is what you should be wearing. You're kind of angling your head. There. Yeah, now you look better. Now you look good.
Also, I liked, Rob, that you are the only person who will do a behind the music of a joke that they just presented. I know there are a lot of fans of this joke out here, so little trivia for you diehards.
Fun fact about this unfinished bit you just heard seconds ago.
I really want to cut to a confessional interview style where you just like a little music playing in the background.
No, I'm in black and white. I'm playing acoustic guitar. I'm just like this next little ditty.
So
the year was.
I wrote this joke when it
was early Wednesday.
Here's an idea for your joke, Rob.
Okay.
What are some other products that you could put a gorgeous person in that you're like, this is not where a gorgeous person belongs? Like a banged up 1982 Nissan.
Oh, that's cool. I like that. Yeah.
I was also thinking about like, a very like skinny model, like doing a photo shoot with like a burger or something.
Yeah.
And you're just like, no, that's not how that works.
Like a model, like, but for like an advertisement for like the military.
Funny.
Or like one of those IT jobs that's like you could be making $18 an hour in tech, and it's just the most gorgeous person at a computer.
This is good. Yeah. So like I saw a commercial for a Denny's, and like a full complete family walked in together. I was like, I don't think so.
Excellent.
To go back to the military thing, it would be I'm an army of one, CK1.
This one might be a little bit out there, but if you see a very attractive person on an ad for like a gross hotel chain, like a Motel 6 or something, and you look at that and you're just like, that's not what happens to beautiful people. If a beautiful person doesn't have a place to stay, then a rich person just offers to give them a place to stay. Like this, you would never go to a hotel like this because you just walk down the street and someone would be like, "Do you want to come to my house?"
Yeah, it's probably funny to be a model and then get the Walmart shoot, and you're just like, "Oh, How do I put this? I don't even know what. Is this on right?
I'm now trying to think of the opposite, where having some kind of ritzy product advertised by somebody who looks like they would never be able to afford or would never be in a thing like that. Like here's. Go ahead.
So I think you see that a lot with like really expensive brand name things. You just see some like schlubby dude in a tracksuit with really high end sneakers. So that definitely does happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's why I guess the joke doesn't work, because it does happen. Like you think that because they're advertising it as this like high end product, poorer people still want to be like, I want that, and then they do get it. So it doesn't really track as much. As a matter of fact, it's kind of funny because that's always the bummer. You know, you see like an ad for like a resort vacation or a cruise, and it's just like, oh man, I'm just gonna be swimming in sexy young people, and then they're all old and fat, and you're like, I don't understand. This is the resort? They're like, yeah, this is it.
All right, now I'm thinking about how you could. All right, there's no preface for this. I'm just thinking like using people who look like they're MAGA in ads for things that don't fit, like an ad for the library, and you just see someone in a MAGA hat, and you're like, you don't go to the library.
Yeah, I just thought of something completely separate, but the models can't work too much. Otherwise, I think the effectiveness of the ads would wear off a little bit. I'd be like, weren't you just a doctor?
That's very funny. I love that.
I don't think so. I swear to God, I just saw you. So they got to spread it out.
You just get jealous of this guy. Every time you see him, you're like, okay, you're a doctor. You mountain climb? Are you you run marathons? Fuck this guy.
Oh, and you eat at McDonald's? Sure. Okay. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Anything else for Rob Ryan, everybody?
No, that was wonderful.
No, fun joke. Great stuff.
Great bits. All right. Next up, we got Brett Dreck. But before we do that, just want to remind everybody to check out our Patreon, patreon.com/ITA pod. Support the show for as little as $1 a month, for as much as the sky's the limit. A lot of cool extra episodes, a lot of cool bonus content. You can get on there, or you can just give us money just for being cool. Just because you're just sitting in the hospital and you got nothing better to spend your money on.
Hey, maybe you're already a patron subscriber. You don't even remember. Go find out. Try to sign up. Use a different credit card this time.
Don't care. Just click that morphine drip and we'll see you in the next episode.
Okay, I don't have any fully formed ideas here, so I'm going to do my best here. I was talking to somebody about all the people who were like COVID hoaxers. They're like, COVID isn't real. It's just like the flu. And I was like, it seems like those people they're gone now, because so many of the people who were like, it's all just a government conspiracy. And it's just to get us indoors and put in control. All those people now know somebody who died, because the more you were that, the more it spread and the more it affected people you know personally. And my buddy was like, well, there's a few left. And I was like, yeah, I guess there are some people. And then it made me laugh to think of like some guy who's like, COVID's not real. My grandma was a crisis actor. It's a long roundabout explanation just to get to this funny idea. But I think the idea of having somebody die. So I guess really it's like holding on to your ideals is really hard. Like COVID hoaxers. If you're still a COVID hoaxer, that's hard. Because you got to be like, grandma was a crisis actor.
Yeah, that I think that is a clean, like there is a cleaner version of that joke. You even kind of stumbled upon it almost right there.
If a guy is in the hospital on a ventilator with COVID, and because this is actually, I feel like I remember reading this, that people were like dying of COVID and being like, no, seriously, what is it? And the doctors would be like, no, you have COVID. And he's like, no, COVID's a hoax. Tell me what I really have. And they're like, I don't know what to tell you, man. You have COVID, you know? Like, what if their reaction to like being somebody who's dying of COVID just be like, you know, well, I guess I'm the 1 in a million or something, or list my cause of death as pneumonia.
You might be running into the Radu Bandar problem here that he expressed, where he's like, he can't outdo the crazy, you know? So anything you say is like, there might be some anecdotal evidence out there that someone has said that and feels that way, and that person exists. To Jarret's point, I mean, if what Jarret said really happened to at least even one person, that's fucking crazy enough to be like I don't know if I could make the joke funnier than sitting there in the hospital and be like, no, but seriously, between you and me,
Right.
Like the government ain't listening. You can just tell me.
That's true. I actually don't really want to write COVID jokes, to be honest with you. So
makes sense.
you know what? Let me try a different one.
Is someone off camera with a gun?
I don't think that I have a lot in common with the top 1% of billionaires, you know. But one thing I do, like, if people who are hoarding wealth, I do think I have one thing in common with them, because every once in a while there will be a national change shortage. And I will see at a cash register them say, hey, we need exact change because there's a national change shortage. And I will think about the 5 jars of coins that I have in my huge jars and be like, I really got to get these back into circulation.
Oh, I love that so much. I love you feeling guilty over that.
Is that the whole idea?
That's it.
What if
funny.
what you're saying is that not that what you have in common with them is that you have hoarded like a resource that is necessary, but what you have in common with them is that once you realize you have a desired commodity, you start turning evil.
Yeah.
You know,
That's very funny.
as I start thinking about the coins that I have at home, and I'm like, well.
That's
Like it's a
great.
buyer's market for some nickels. Oh, you need some nickels? 6 cents each.
What are you gonna do, Mr. Bond? No, Mr. Bond, I expect you to die.
What if I told you I could? I knew a guy who had like 80 nickels.
Maybe this bagel doesn't cost so much anymore.
It doesn't. What's the dime price? You pay with dimes.
Somebody has an oversized plastic Coca-Cola bottle filled with the stuff. I don't know if that is universal or not. I've seen. Do you know the oversized Coca-Cola plastic bottles that are also change collectors?
I'm aware of it.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
Was able to put my brain there.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yeah. You guys want to hear a super embarrassing story that is only tangentially related?
Yes.
During Brett's turn, yeah.
When I was when I was a senior in high school, I thought I had like a little thing going with this girl, and all of a sudden it just like turned off. Like all of a sudden she was not interested anymore, and it drove me completely insane. Where for months I kept on trying to hey, you want to flirt with me? And she'd be like, oh, cool, and then just like off to the side. Finally, one day I built up the confidence to be like, hey, can we get lunch? Because it's actually something I really want to talk to you about. And she's like, yeah, sure. We go to Subway. At the time, I had this massive amount of change in my car's cup holder. And so I was like, all right, cool. Let's go get some sandwiches. Then we can chat. I grab a whole bunch of change thinking like this will be enough for a sandwich. I get to the front of the line. I put my change down. It's nowhere close to what I don't have any other money on me. And so I got to go to this girl that I'm trying to be like, hey, what's going on between us? And be like, can you buy my sandwich for me? Because I did not. Shockingly, that conversation did not go great.
What was the real reason?
I mean, she gave me a very nice brush off. That was like, I think that I was looking for something at the time that I'm not looking for anymore. And, blah, blah, blah. But I was just like so fully embarrassed and depressed at like the situation that I put myself in. What I wanted was to walk away from that and be like, hey, cool, no big deal, or like try to ignite the spark. But instead, she was like talking to a bridge troll who was just like sitting there like, okay, I guess if that's what you want. Just leave me here with my sandwich and my coins.
I love that you said what I wanted, like as if that wasn't obvious. Like what I wanted was a sandwich and a girlfriend. What I got was neither.
Was I got turned into a puddle of mud. Thank you for allowing us this tangent, Brett. During your turn.
Oh, no problem.
Appreciate it.
I really do enjoy the change shortage collection thing. Turning evil does sound super funny, and I think
Because it's also not something that they don't feel bad about hoarding resources, you know?
yeah, that's true. You might have to make a decision.
I
on
do
which way to read
like the like. Ugh. I like imagining that that's what billionaires are doing. Like they're just like they see like riots in the street and they're like, "Ooh, I'm really gonna get this back into the system."
I should probably get some of my money out of the Cayman and put it back into start trickling down. It's almost like these rich people are like, we'll let the trickle down happen eventually, but I'm just gonna soon. It'll trickle down soon. I promise. Instead, they're just like, there's like a homeless person on the street and they're like, oh, I have money. I should. Oof.
Yeah, you know what? Part of me feels like you should. Maybe that's true of billionaires, but it's such a new thought about billionaires that what really tickled me was I just love Brett having the hubris, truly the audacity to think that you are somehow the cause of the national change shortage. It's very funny. I love it. It's like, oh God. Like whenever I see that sign, that's all I have to say. Whenever I see that sign, I think about those like 5 bowls of pennies I have and go, oh boy, you really done it this time, Brett.
Oh, Brett, what about this for justification?
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just say
awful. Terrible.
That's actually very impressive. I don't know how it synced up with you, but for me, we spoke
It
the
synced up
exact
perfectly.
same thing
It synced
at the
amazingly.
exact same time.
Oh,
even
I know.
the laugh.
Oh, sorry, no. Okay, you go. I was gonna say.
Go ahead.
What if the framework is that you don't understand why they don't feel bad because during the change shortage you felt so responsible for it, then you still get to do the and then maybe you can do act outs for like, why aren't billionaires like that?
That's fun.
Yeah. Or maybe they are, but I was also thinking it'd be funny if I'm just like, oh, maybe billionaires are also just procrastinators.
There you go. That's fun. Yeah, because then you could get.
They're just like, oh, yes. Every time they see a riot on TV, they're like, I gotta get that money back into the hands of the people.
Dude,
I would love it if you
that order is so funny to me because it gets all the laughs that I want out of that, and then it tickles me to think that you're like, maybe you're giving billionaires the benefit of the doubt that when they see just the absolute disaster, they're I keep on because then that's a very real thought that I have changed on me all the time. As a matter of fact, this is a little side story. This phone case is the perfect width of a quarter, nickel, dime, whatever. So every time I pull it out of my pocket, it usually nabs a coin. And takes it out. And so I pull my phone out, I drop a coin. Pull my phone out, drop. I'm like, fucking, this is so annoying. My friends make fun of me. They're like, man, you just changed. It's always coming out of you. I know.
I was gonna say, if you can write this joke where you do every version that we talked about, because I do think that the evil villain billionaire with your coins is funny. I think billionaire who feels bad about hoarding his wealth every time he sees a food riot is funny. You know,
could you be Smaug at any point? Just like
Smaug.
Yeah. Oh boy. These coins.
I actually have not seen the Hobbit movies or read The Hobbit, so the reference is lost on me.
You can
like the
skip
idea.
It's a dragon.
Skip the movies.
It's a dragon that
read
keeps
the
a lot
book.
of coins.
Read the book. Keeps a lot of coins. He keeps a lot of coins.
That's all I know. I only saw the second one.
On a mountain of treasure. They describe it. He keeps a lot of coins. He's got a massive coin collection.
That's super funny. Yeah, because I identify with when I do start collecting change just by accident, I'll always have the thought in my mind of like, I should just take a handful of change with you at some point, just so you can spend it. Or sometimes I'll even take it and then forget to spend it. So just the concept of like, "Ugh, I didn't take the quarters with me. It's great.
When I was in college, I used to have a go-to joke, which was when I would pull stuff out of my pockets and change would fall out. And when my friends would go, I would go, Jew. Which I thought was like a harmless, because it's just like, that's not a stereotype that money just appears out of us.
Yeah.
But then I was like, I gotta stop doing any kind of stereotype because it leads to harmful ones.
Mm-hmm.
I like the idea of, billionaires, like people, they want to, like I want to get my change in order, but like I gotta wrap it, I gotta do the things. I just imagine them with like hundreds of dollars of bills, like I gotta wrap the hundreds, and it's all just loose hundreds everywhere. I would, but I gotta put it in the little, and then the briefcase. I gotta put it in the briefcase.
Or they have like just like the literal sacks of gold in their house. It's like, I gotta go to the bank and deposit this so I can get it back in the circulation.
Ooh, what would be the coin
so
star
funny.
for billionaires?
I just imagining just like they're like shoving their cars in this thing. I can't wait to find out how many cars I have.
Sift diamonds.
Then I could just send everybody gift cards and
There's like different carrots of like,
You get a Starbucks gift card that you buy literal Starbucks stores with,
the diamond coin star, like the rubies and sapphires get like pushed out to the. No, these aren't diamonds.
This is a Canadian diamond. Oh, that's funny. That's really
Canadian
funny.
diamond. That's excellent. Oh, you want to hear this is a real joke that I've said several times to cashiers when that little sign is there recently. There's just like, there's a national change shortage. Do you have any change? And I go, just lazy change. Doesn't want to get back to work. I've gotten laughs like two out of three times.
When I worked at Pizzeria Uno, we gave exact change with all of our checks in cash. Some restaurants you just sort of like round up or round down, but that meant that we had to have a lot of coins just like in our little apron, and that would accumulate. You just have like this giant thing of coins. So every once in a while, I would just load up my pants with coins and take them home and wrap them and then bring them to the bank. But it was, sporadic. And the days that I did, I would have just like a ton of change just in my pocket. And at least one time, a homeless person came up to me and said, "Hey, man, do you have any change?" And I was like, "No." And he just heard me walk away. Ching, 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 ching.
he's probably like, "Oh, wow, that knight in shining armor." Probably has some other stuff to do today.
That's funny.
Hey, thanks for the notes, guys. Great.
Absolutely. All right.
Great
and now
fits.
it's time for Leedy Doodles.
Yay, Leedy, she's gonna show us what she made with her hands on a digital representation of her jokes. It's Leedy, time for art.
That's great.
That's incredible. All right. here
I
we go.
love that now this is a shared responsibility of improvising the Leedy song, saying outro goes here, doing the Patreon pitch.
It's always different.
I'm for it. I'm for it.
All right, here we go. First up, I have just the starting screen. Is this anything? The Mushy right? First up, I have Steven Spielberg's Humans. Coming soon. No. Then I have Cornhole, Gator Hide and Seek. How do we pick?
It looks exactly like the back of our hotel.
And I have, you dirty.
That's great.
And I've got, yes, this jacket is what the model.
Oh, I love that. That's great.
That took me so long to draw. I had to
That's
do
really, really cool.
Yeah, you
Thank
nailed it.
you. Then I have Join the military.
I like how she's in a chair and not like outside.
This is
To like do military things. She's a model.
this is the future liberals want.
Do you want our army just to be hot, sitting in a chair, no weapons?
Yes, I do. And then I've got the smog with the
He just
Wow,
got
that was a
3
good
jars.
smog.
That is a good
for like how recently we mentioned it. Yeah.
Thank you so much. I will be
But I
How would
love-
you know, Brett? How would you know?
Yeah, exactly. Brett, you don't even know what you're talking
Seen
about.
trailers, I just haven't watched the movie.
So when I said smog, you're like, I couldn't even possibly.
What?
No,
What is
I'm
that
saying I can't
even?
incorporate. Like I wanted to tag it up. I wanted to be smog,
Oh,
but I
I
couldn't
see.
do any of the smog things.
Yeah. He was played
Leedy,
by
Also,
voiced by-
everything that Leedy does is amazing.
so it doesn't matter.
I know that it's good. I know that it's really a good song.
Thank you.
What I love is that he has 3 jars of change.
Yeah.
He's not on a mountain of,
That might
of
be.
jars of change.
Nope, 3 jars.
And he's still guarding them. Like,
Very, yeah. It's great.
Yeah, I thought that might be the way to go with that. I was gonna make him on mountains of change, and then I was like, "That's not the bit. That doesn't make any sense."
so
I love
funny.
it. There might be like $22 in there, which is nice.
Better not be any hobbits trying to take my change.
And then I have the Monopoly card that Jarret wanted, community chest collection. And here's the one that he got. Chance turned into.
Ah, that's
There's
great.
him getting the sandwich, and the girl's leg is being hit.
I love it.
I like how I'm blown away by the girl's leg and the sandwich. Oh,
Yeah, you really nailed those Monopoly guy caricatures.
And then I have Chance turn into a troll and go to jail.
That's great.
So sad.
Awesome.
I think it's funny.
And that's
Well, yeah, whatever. I like how the Monopoly guy never loses his tux. Doesn't matter how much,
yeah.
how in debt he is. The guy's super broke. He's staying at like a Motel 6 on Baltic Avenue, and he's still got a top hat. It's very strange.
we used to watch. Me and my high school friends used to watch a lot of old movie musicals, and it's remarkable how often a character is just like dressed to the nines, like I'm plumb broke. You know.
That's great.
Excellent work, Leedy Corbin.
Thank
Where can they
you.
find you?
You can find me on all the social medias under my name, just Leedy Corbin, and support me on Patreon, please. That'd be really nice. I'm going to be back on Twitch soon. Twitch TV / Leedy Art. I forgot that plug.
Nice.
It's been a while.
We should all get back on Twitch soon. Let's.
We
Yeah.
should all get back on
priority.
Twitch.
Once I'm back from tour, that's definitely a big part of the plan.
Excellent. I love that.
Yeah.
You ever watch the show Doug?
Alrighty.
The
Oh, I
cartoon
loved Doug when I was a kid.
You made me think of about the rich thing. There was this moment in Doug when there was BB Bluff. I just think that they used their side characters really well, and they were actually kind of like weirdly fleshed out for a children's cartoon show about a guy named Doug. Because one of his friends was BB Bluff, who's short for BB Bluffington. The town's name is Bluffington. Her father is the mayor and, I guess, heir of the Bluffington fortune. It's a funny concept. So she's very rich, and that like plays into the concept of the show. She's like popular and she's rich, and when there are parties at her house, they're spectacular and whatever. And there was a line when, you know, they come into the Hunker Burger and they're eating and they're just like, oh man, I'm broke. And BB's like, broke? What is broke? And then they're like, we'll explain it to you on the way, BB. And it's like, they're all just friends, so they like each other. And Chalky is like also wealthy and just classic, like, oh, he's the captain of the football team. He's wealthy. He's a good student. That kind of guy, you know, like he's nice, but he's just got it, like that little bit of a silver spoon situation too. And then there's Connie, who's like a little chunky, like a little overweight, and that like comes into play. It's not just like a drawing choice. Like there's an episode where that gets dealt with a little bit, and she's not as like attractive or popular as other girls. And I just thought that was like, that's pretty cool that they incorporate all these little things and made these characters more fleshed out.
I would like to share a Doug memory as well, if I may.
We should make this a Patreon episode.
We should
I
make
think.
this a Patreon
This many Doug, who doesn't have a Doug story?
I think, if I'm remembering correctly, there was an episode of Doug where it's very like anti-capitalist, he starts like a lawnmower business. Like he's mowing a lawn, he gets a friend to mow the lawn, and he ends up being like the CEO of this lawn cutting business. And he's like barely paying his friends anything. They're all doing the work. He's just like raking it in. And then at the end of the episode, he realizes that what he did was wrong. And first of all, like this episode probably was part of my radicalization, just like watching this and it got like ingrained into my brain. Like, oh yeah, that is a bad thing to do. Yeah, totally. But also, too, so at the end of the episode, he decides he's going to take all the profits and do something nice for his friends that helped him out. And he's apologized and everything. And what he does is he goes, so I'm really sorry, guys. So he was like trying to save up for a skateboard. So he's like, I want to show you guys what I got with the money. And they're like, we know you got a skateboard. And he opens it up and it's tickets to an amusement park. And the name of the amusement park is said by one of the characters who goes, tickets to Funky Town. Which, as far as I know, was not like pre-established as like a great thing, as like a great theme park that they could go to. Like, oh man, I wish we could go to Funky Town the way that like Ren and Stimpy was like an established thing of The Simpsons. It just decided we're gonna invent a theme park and we're just gonna. What is it?
Itchy and Scratchy.
What did I say? Ren and Stimpy or
Ren and
something?
Stimpy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, my bad.
I had a real moment of like, were those connected? Was there a Ren? Did I miss a Ren and Stimpy? Did Ren and Stimpy come from The Simpsons? What's happening?
It's so easy to make Brett insane. You know, like
Go back.
So easy.
Watch the footage because I was like, that's not right. But
You know about
I saw Rob say that. I was like, okay, I'm not crazy. You can watch my face go through all those emotions too. I'm like, itchy scratchy.
You know about the blueberries or strawberries story, right, Rob?
Maybe.
Do I know about this?
Maybe I don't.
You do, yeah. This was the second tour that we did together. This is where I came up with my theory that it'd be really easy to institutionalize Brett because it's so easy to make him go insane. Is we got breakfast somewhere and Steve was handing out everybody's food to us, and he's like, "All right, whole wheat toast and an egg for Jarret, and I got waffles for Brett," and he hands him a cup and he goes, "And the blueberries or strawberries." That's what Brett heard, but what he said was something like blueberries and strawberries, but Brett heard him say blueberries are strawberries, and Brett just completely lost his mind. He's like, "What do you mean the blueberries are strawberries? What the hell does that even mean? The blueberries are strawberries? What the hell, man?"
I don't remember this at all.
You don't remember?
Blacked it out.
Fondest tour memories. That was the second day. We just did Philadelphia, and we were on our way to Pittsburgh or something.
Wait, this is a while ago though, not the most recent. Yeah, I must have been. Oh, this was like the 8-month where Rob did the first part of, or like the second part of the tour, and then Jarret, you joined I think towards the end. It was the first like long tour I've been on, and I would go crazy over something like that.
Loopy doopy.
Not sleep at all. The shows were very, very miss. And occasionally a hit, and then bad hotels, sharing rooms with everybody, and yeah, it was just not a lot of sleep at all.
The blueberries and strawberries. What does that even mean?
I was probably already mad at Steve for something else. What do you mean blueberries are strawberries?
It was such a great meltdown. It was a delight. All right. Well, Rob's got to run, so
too bad.
Outro goes here.
Goes here.
Bye, guys. Let me talk to you soon.
Thanks so much for watching. Check back every Monday for new episodes, or you can listen wherever you enjoy podcasts. If you want to help support the show, tell your friends how much you like Is This Anything? Or get involved, like an episode, share, comment, subscribe. If you want more Is This Anything, you gotta join our Patreon at patreon.com/ITAPod. We have a ton of awesome exclusive content on there, and you can join for as little as $1 a month. Check out the links in the description, and hopefully we'll see you next week.